Hey, what's up? Like, totally time for 90210.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the 90210 show, brought to you by your friendly faces here at Massive Late Fee. It is December 5th?
Sure.
December something. 1995.
It is December 7th.
Yes, you're right. December 7th, 1995. A day which will live in infamy.
Sure.
For our show. But we're here talking about the 90210 show.
No, who's going to live in infamy is Dylan McKay.
Oh my gosh, Dylan. What a dog.
What an idiot.
Sometimes honesty's not the best policy with people that you love. What, did he get that from his dad?
Must have.
One in jail.
Right?
The guy that ran that Ponzi scheme or whatever.
Sounds like it.
Speaking of Ponzi schemes, they mentioned the Billionaire Boys Club this episode.
What is that? Like, I did not get the reference.
Quite an 80s reference there. The Billionaires Boys Club was a group of, like, investors that were, or investment bankers or whatever. They were young dudes that worked on Wall Street, and they essentially set up a Ponzi scheme for their investors, and then one of them maybe killed one of the other investors. It was a big, like, news story and investigation and stuff like that. I'm surprised they haven't made a movie about it yet, but I assume that eventually they will.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So, what happened this week? What did we start out with?
We started out with the investigation? I don't know.
I think so.
They're at school, and yeah, Brenda's walking through the halls of the school with that halter top. That
she had a really low cut sweetheart neckline tank strap.
That's what they call it?
Yeah.
Because the old women say, "Oh, sweetheart."
No, because it looks like a heart.
Oh, all right.
Because it comes down in the middle and it, rounds out at the top.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, she looked good. She looked like not her, though.
Yeah, she looked like Shannon Doherty. She didn't look like Brenda Walsh. She looked like Shannon Doherty.
Right. So, yeah, she's walking through the halls talking about how she has a date with Rick that day.
Who do you think, Rick? My prediction about how long this guy was going to last came true, too.
Yeah. Yeah, he does not make it. Not through the end of this episode, unfortunately.
Like I said, he says, hey, keep my number because, I'm going out for this pilot for Lois and Clark. But I don't know.
Might be back.
Might not get picked up, so.
Andrea is struggling around in this wheelchair.
Oh, yes.
So
they mention again, silver muscle car, nondescript. Yeah. She keeps describing this car. So I know this car is coming back.
When, though? It seems like they're dragging. I mean, for this show, it's dragging it out a little bit.
They drag everything out.
You think?
They drag a lot of these plot lines out, sure.
Okay. The principal was talking with the police.
Miss Tinsley?
Teasley. Yeah. Andrea, for some reason, gets to be part of everything because she's like 40, so they treat her like a member of the faculty. So, yeah.
Here's our geriatric student.
She's in a wheelchair. So she gets the scoop that they're looking to press like felony charges, but they don't actually have a suspect.
They're not sure.
But they mention the legacy key.
Eventually they do, yeah.
Not immediately.
They don't right away, but she says that she's pushing harder than the police are. The police are like, the trail's going cold.
Right.
And she's like, you pussies.
Figure it out.
We can do this. And, yeah, she comes up with the legacy key thing. The weird thing is she says to Steve, Steve's very interested in this investigation.
Of course.
And she says to Steve that all the grades have been restored, but only one of his grades was changed.
Well, we don't know for sure that that's how it went down. Like, maybe the whole thing crashed because it was, like, frozen. Maybe all the grades got destroyed or something.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you're right. His is the only one that got changed, but I don't know if they could see that. Because I feel like if they could see that, they'd already be at least talking to him.
They do say, too, they were like, looks like an amateur hacker.
Yeah, he's kind of mean to his freshman buddy about that.
They're just into Herbert's face about this.
Right? She mentions the legacy key. Does she tell the police, or is she just talking to Brandon? I don't remember.
She's talking to Steve.
Steve.
And she says that they're investigating. I think the police know about it, but I think the police are kind of like, whatever. You know,
right.
Nothing got changed, so they're kind of ready to give up on it, but she's not.
She's a reporter, and she wants the hot scoop.
Andrea's like a dog with a piece of meat.
Yes,
she's just going at it.
She wants to figure out about the legacy key. In the meantime, the janitor gets talked to, and they figured out, too, that it's an inside job. There was no forced entry, so they know somebody had a key to do it.
Exactly.
And he's asking Steve for money to not tell them who has a key.
Yeah, he keeps...
Blackmailing him.
There you go. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, he says that he's like, the police would be real interested in me telling them who was in here looking for keys. Like, he's going to act like he had nothing else to do with it, too. Right. He's such a dick.
$100 is not going to cut it anymore, Walsh.
No, not Walsh.
Or what's his name?
Sanders.
Why don't you stick to your strengths? Your strengths, your wallet.
Yeah, he's being a real dick.
Oh, yeah. And this is an adult extorting a child.
Well, he's not really a child. I mean, he's a senior in high school.
Okay.
He's almost an adult.
I guess. He's still in high school. He's a high school kid.
It's not right.
No.
But how much does he want in the end? Because he said it wasn't enough, and I don't remember what happened.
They fade to black. Use your imagination.
So we don't know like how much he ends up having to pay him.
No, probably $1,000.
Ugh, that's gross. I feel like he could get in worse trouble, like for taking that money from Steve.
For sure.
Oh, well.
Lose his job and his pension.
But he's like, who are they going to believe? I've got 15 years seniority.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
I've been sweeping up your vomit for 16 years. Sanders.
Right.
I've been spreading sawdust. They see me.
So, yeah, Steve is definitely, freaked out for good reason. Mm-hmm. Brenda goes on her date with Rick, who insists on going...
Yeah, that's the end of that plot, by the way, that subplot.
Yeah.
That's where we get to in this episode.
Yeah, that's all we know.
But yeah, Brenda goes on her date with Richard.
Rick.
Dick.
And he wants to go to the freaking Peach Pit, and he's saying that it's their place.
Yeah. You know what I love most about this place? It's ours.
Right, she is not having any of that, though.
It's not like you have 3 seasons of established shots here at the Beach Pit, do you?
And, she's like, no, my brother works here, all my friends hang out here, this can't be our place.
Nat was, present when I lost my virginity.
Ew.
I almost got murdered here one time, remember that?
Yeah, shit. So that's not going great. And he's made super good friends with her dad.
Which is not a good sign.
No.
I said as soon as he was talking to his dad so chummily, oh, you're that, what's his name? Walsh?
Yeah.
What's his first name? You're that Mr. Walsh?
Carol and...
Jim,
yeah.
You're that Jim Walsh? James Walsh?
He's read some, paper he wrote or whatever.
The one that had his article published in Business Insiders? Or something like that.
And he's going for a business, accounting degree or whatever. Like, they're going into the same field.
She's like, I thought you were a writer. He's like, I thought you were French. We all lie. This is 90210. We all lie on this show.
So, yeah, she is getting cold for him.
Yeah.
But he does take her to a super nice restaurant. We'll get to that in a minute. Dylan wants Kelly to go on a date with him.
Yeah.
And she wants to tell Brenda. She wants Brenda's permission. And he's like, that's when he says his stupid line about, sometimes the truth is not the best thing for the people you love.
Exactly.
And he sneakily convinces her to go out with him. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan anymore. Like, I used to like him. Not anymore.
He's Ka from The Jungle Book.
Right.
Trust in me. He starts singing.
So he...
Hold it, Ka. All right, good.
He takes her to the planetarium, which is a nice romantic date.
I suppose. You
don't think that would be romantic under the stars?
Kind of, yeah. Under the fake stars.
It's better than sitting in a movie theater. It's similar.
Billions and billions of stars.
Yeah. And, this is, highlighting the history that they have, that they remember being there on their 6th grade trip and
7th grade.
Whatever. And, apparently they were both watching each other. Like, they knew who the other one was sitting with. So they've had a crush on each other for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
And
he said he was wondering if the dude was going to make a move in front of the whole class.
And then she said something about the girl that he was with. Like, apparently something happened there.
She's quite handsy, huh? Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so they make out in the planetarium. Mm-hmm. And then he takes her up to the roof, and they're, like, looking out over the city, and he's talking about how when he's upset, which he's upset about the SATs.
Oh, yeah, the SATs is still going on.
Yeah. Like, he's very angry because they have decided that he's a cheater, and they're not going to count his score, and his only option is to retake it.
You're a bit out of order, but okay. He still had, at this point, he still had the appeal in.
Oh, okay, fine.
It wasn't until later that they decided, no, you're a cheater. We're going to reject your appeal.
So, but he's angry.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how it's calming and makes him feel smaller, and like the SATs don't matter as much, which, all great, whatever, charming.
They're at the Griffith Observatory.
Stuff. Yeah. And him and Kelly start making out, and she's like, we need to slow down.
Dylan's like, I've known you my entire life.
Yeah. We can't take it any slower.
I'm not going any slower, bitch.
And she's like, we can go slower. I'm starving. So at this point, I figured that, they're going to end up at the frickin' Peach Pit with Brenda and Rick, but...
They had already left.
Yeah. And they go to this really nice restaurant, and they have a lovely meal. And she is talked into going back to his house, even though she said she wasn't gonna.
Who, Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You lightning switched from Rick and Brenda to Kelly and Dylan.
Oh, sorry. Well, they're making out practically on the way out the door. Like, I'm surprised he doesn't just push her up against a wall.
Yeah.
And they run smack dab into Brenda and Rick, who have decided to go there apparently and set up the Peach Pit.
Right, for dessert, I guess.
Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. They already were at a restaurant. They were at a restaurant, and then
something happened in between.
And then they're going to end up at her house.
And they got finger blasted in the cars.
Ew. So gross. I hate that saying. Ugh. But she's very upset.
Uh-huh.
Like, understandably.
Brenda's pretty upset, yes.
She looks like she's going to cry. Like, she looks like she's going to hit somebody. And Dylan and Kelly are trying to, like, leave. And Rick's like, no, wait, let's talk about this. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
You guys have known each other for a long time. I'm going to insert myself into the middle of this history.
Such an idiot.
You guys shouldn't be mad about this. I mean, everyone will get over it. And Brenda's like, Kelly, how does it feel to be a whore?
Yeah, basically. She says, if you're trying to get past your bimbo reputation, this isn't going to help.
Ouch.
Ugh. Yeah. So.
How does Kelly have a bimbo reputation still? I don't understand this. At the beginning of the show, sure, maybe, but she's dated... Who has she dated since the shows began? She tried to date, I think, 2 or 3 different guys in the 3 seasons.
Right.
Most of the time, she's been single.
But this is high school, and everybody knows she had sex.
Yeah. Kelly slept with this dude once in 10th grade, so she's a bimbo for the rest of her life.
Right. Yeah, that's how high school works.
Yeah, I guess
They're
that's true.
bloodthirsty vultures.
Rick, sacrifice to the god of high school.
Right. If I were Brenda, I think I would have left Rick at the fucking restaurant. I think he was being obnoxious.
Yeah, I understand what he was trying to do, but
especially trying to keep her ex-boyfriend in her life. Like, how is that going to help your cause?
He should have said, "Look, I'll just fly around the earth a bunch of times until time reverses."
Right.
And then we'll avoid going to this restaurant.
There you go. He then ends up back at her parents' house talking to her dad, and she's just sitting there looking bored.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about tax shelters.
Stupid.
Jim's like, tax shelters aren't as attractive as they used to be, son.
Yeah, it's not good. And then as soon as they're gone, he tries to make out with her. She's not wanting to make out with you. She is as dry as a desert right now, dude.
Oh, God.
I don't know what he was thinking.
Call her Brenda Sahara Walsh.
Right? She cuts it off. So now she's alone.
Not Lorena Bobbitt style.
No.
She says that's it now.
And then Dylan and Kelly end up back at his place, but they don't sleep together. She gets upset.
She's pissed. She's like, "Oh, I listened to you, Ka, and now Brenda hates me." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever. Who cares about her?" And she says, "Why?" She says, "Sometimes I think that the only reason I'm here is because she's not."
Yeah, that was weird and stupid and dumb to say.
He wanted to break up with her before they actually broke up because he wanted to date Kelly.
Yeah, like he was willing to break up with Brenda while she was in frickin' Paris or as soon as she got back. And Kelly's like, no. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, whatever. The next day, Kelly and Brenda get into it in the hall. And they are, out for blood. Mm-hmm. Like, Brenda says to Kelly that at least she doesn't have to feel like second choice. And Kelly's like, neither do I.
Yeah, she's like, what does that mean?
And then Dylan comes storming down the hall. And they're like, where are you going? And he's like, anywhere but here, which was the smart move because he was very upset because he just found out that what I said earlier.
Right. That's when this happens.
Yeah, the SAT thing, that he's absolutely lost. So he just freaking takes off, goes home, gets on a motorcycle. Peace out.
Goes over to Brandon and is like, hey, you were the only one to stick by me this entire time. I just wanted to say I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge.
And the name of this episode was Rebel with a Cause.
Yeah. I don't know what his cause is.
What's his fucking cause? Getting his dick wet?
The SATs.
I hate him right now.
This is the worst he's looked.
Yeah. I'm glad he's leaving. Stay gone, Dylan.
How long do you think he'll be gone? I don't even think he'll be absent an episode.
You don't think so? You think he'll be back next week?
They'll show him. One of the subplots will be him on the road.
Probably.
Having sex with road hookers or something.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. I wonder if he's going to relapse.
He's going to go from SATs to STDs.
Maybe.
Well, he said that he needs to leave because he doesn't want to relapse.
That's true.
That's what he said.
Yeah, and like all he's got right now is Brenda, who is, broken up with him, and Kelly, who he's trying to get with, who's mad at him. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Brandon, for the 470th episode in a row, has nothing to do, apparently.
Right.
They haven't done anything with him in a while.
I feel like we had a Brandon-heavy episode a couple weeks ago with, like, the dancing and his girlfriend and stuff.
Was that really Brandon heavy, though?
I don't know.
He got to make out with Audrey from Beverly, or from National Lampoon's Vacation, who's not in this episode at all.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
I don't know what's going on.
She's getting phased out.
But the other subplot, my favorite subplot of this episode, is Jim's got a new secretary.
Oh, my gosh. How could I forget about this? Oh, I thought we were done. Oh, no.
Jim's got a new secretary who keeps calling. She's a temp.
Dottie, yeah.
And she keeps calling him. Oh, this guy, we're playing phone tag with him, and he just called back or whatever. And Jim keeps talking about, oh man, she's great. She's a great secretary.
Best secretary I've ever had.
Best one I've ever had. Maybe I had a stewardess that was better, but best secretary I've ever had. She's worked overtime. She's been putting a lot of overtime hours in. And she has this report that's done or something, and he needs to sign it. And he was like, oh, I might have to. He's in his robe. And he says, I might have to go back into the office for a minute to sign some papers. And his wife's like, it's 9:30.
Right.
And she's like, can't she just drive him over here if she's working so hard for you? Which seems rude.
Yeah, I think so, too.
But he says to her, hey, would it be too much trouble to stop by on the way home with them?
Which hopefully they're on the way home.
Of course she says yes.
Right.
Well, she's a secretary. You really think she lives in Beverly Hills?
Right.
Or lives in Alameda or something like that.
No.
She lives in Oxnard.
With the onion fields.
Right. And so then she stops by, and I called this. I said she'll be gorgeous.
And she is fucking gorgeous.
Let's see how attractive they go. They go pretty attractive.
So, of course, Cindy is not happy.
She looks like Carol, kind of.
Aw. But Cindy, that's her name. The actress's name is Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Carol Potter.
Yeah.
And James Eccleshouse or something. He gets to still be Jim.
She starts interrogating Jim, and she's like, I'm worried about what did she say? Like, everything she's willing to do for you, basically.
Yeah, well, he's like, because she says to him, well, he says something like, hey, it's been nice to have such a great secretary and everything. And she says, I just am happy to be working for someone that I respect, someone whose work is good, and someone who appreciates everything I have to offer.
There you go. And Cindy's like, I'm concerned about what she has to offer.
Yeah, and it's like Jim blushes a couple different times when they're having this conversation. I'm sure he's thought about it before.
He looks very guilty.
Brandon says something like, "Oh, Dad must have left out all your best attributes or something like that." Yeah. And they're like, "Yeah, that's our son. One day he'll come out of his shell," which is really funny. And it's like that's a genuinely funny line in this episode. And she leaves. And she's like, "Hey, nice to meet you guys." And Brandon goes, "The pleasure was all mine." And then they close the door. And Cindy says to him, "Hey, how come you changed before she came over?"
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking, he was in a robe.
Right?
Well, would you really want him to be like, here, let me meet her in my Hugh Hefner robe? He's like, we've got a professional relationship. I thought it would be, more appropriate that I have clothes on and not a robe.
Right, which makes sense.
And she's like, yeah, and you want to put on that aftershave. And then I think this is an ad lib. I think Jason Priestley just did this. But you see Brandon lean over and smell his neck.
Hilarious.
And so then he sits down and he's like, look, all I'm thinking about when I'm at work is work. And then besides you and the kids, the Vikings are the only thing I think about. And she seems, to be sated by that. So then he's at work the next day and she comes in wearing this low-cut black dress
with a zipper on the side.
Yeah. And she says, hey, the agency's going to call and they're going to ask if you want to hire me on permanently. And I don't want to pressure you or anything, but I had a really good time here and everything. And he starts saying how, well, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a long time. And then she zips up her dress thing and shows all kinds of leg.
And crawls on the desk.
She's like, I was hoping you would say that because now we can whatever. And
I would make you very happy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's all in his mind. But she is still standing right in front of her. Which just, I don't know. They do that in movies and TV all the time. As a guy, I've never been having a active conversation with a woman and then just imagined a scenario while we're in the middle of a conversation. It seems so ridiculous.
Yeah, how does he have time for that?
But I don't know. But she says, no rush or whatever. He's like, no, I'll sleep with you. And he's like, I'll sleep on it.
That's exactly what he fucking said too, the dog.
And he's like, I'll sleep on it. And, So, and I said, if he doesn't hire her, which I don't think he's going to, that's not harassment. That's discrimination.
Yeah. It's not fair if she's really the best secretary he's ever had for him to not hire her just because he wants to sleep with her. But if he knows his limitations as a man and he can't trust himself and he values his marriage, then maybe he's still making the right call. It may not be right. It may not be legal, but it might still be the right call for him.
I guess. But, I mean, remember his secretary before? She's like some old woman.
No, I didn't remember.
Yeah, when the episode where he was going to go back to Minnesota, I think we see her.
Okay.
And she was just like some matron.
Right.
And now he's got, I don't know. I don't even know who.
Sex on a stick.
Right. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. Maybe Dottie sticks around. I love that they named her Dottie, too.
Yeah. She looks very 80s, but still hot. Like, she's got the giant hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm very interested. I hope they go back to it and tell us what he does. I hope they don't just drop it here.
Oh, I don't think they will. I think this will come back.
We'll see.
They've got this actress for a couple episodes, I think.
I hope so.
They seem to like... See, this is why you always ask me, like, oh, do you think they'll come back? How often do you think they'll come back? They always seem to do this. So here's a little behind the scenes. But they always seem to sign these actors to, like, three episode deals or something. Like, it's a 3-episode guest spot. This is the contract we're signing you for.
Right.
So they pay them whatever their salary is. I guess they pay... I don't know if they pay scale. I don't know if they pay more. I don't know what they pay on 90210. But whatever it is, it's 3 times for 3 different episodes. As an actor, that's got to be great to get a guest spot that's a few episodes long. As
long as, you're not one of Brandon's girlfriends, because...
Right.
Then you just end up in the desert, and that's a one-day thing.
Those actors, I don't think any of those actresses do anything else ever.
Right. That's one thing. They just end up in there's some pit in the Death Valley.
It's the Mojave.
There you go. And it contains the bodies of all the women that Brandon has slept with.
Except for Christine Elise. Except for, the punk rock girl.
Yeah. Well, and now this new one, but he's not sleeping with her, so that's what's keeping her alive.
She's barely hanging on a string, Hollywood string. Well, that is the episode for the week. Carol, this is your part.
This is my part, and I love saying this too. So please check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com and write us at latefee1994@aol.com. Mm-hmm. Tell your friends, give us the stars, and
Tell one friend about the show. If you're on the phone with a friend, be like, hey, stop talking about Pogs for a minute. Listen to this show that I listened to.
Whenever you say that, it makes me think about, like, some freaking, like, telethon, like, for $1, you can save our show by telling one friend.
That's right. Save our show. SOS. We're not going to be able to do this unless we make $1 million anymore.
I mean, the tapes are not free.
No. Yeah. You know how much money I've spent on tapes?
All right. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.